Can you guys all see this?
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
Welcome everybody to the Red Frog Owners Meeting. First, my name is Justine. As you guys know, joining us today, we have our panelist, manager.
Hello.
We have Laura, our VP of Sales. We also have Joe here, our CEO and president. Oops.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here.
We have Steve Bolton, a shareholder and partner.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Jerry Bratz joining us. He is also an owner and a partner.
Good afternoon. Thanks.
All right, so you guys, we have a lot to cover. So today's meeting agenda, originally our plan was to have this COA meeting, but we did receive a lot of requests and feedback from owners outside of the COA wanting to know about the resort update and plans moving forward. So we did receive 29 questions, but out of the 29, 8 of them were regarding the COA. As you guys know, we are going through a significant transition at the moment. So we'll be talking about our plan moving forward. And our objective for this meeting is threefold. So we're going to be updating you on the resort status. We'll be talking about the positive and the negative. Yes, we are going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're also going to be talking about our 2023 plan. We're going to be talking about the solutions and the 4 R's. And last but not least, we'll be answering all of your questions in regards to the COA and other questions. So before we get started, we have some inspirational insight from Laura. Go ahead, Laura.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I have a little story that I'm going to share just to start off the meeting to tell you about a personal experience that I had this week. So if it sounds a little rehearsed, that's because I wrote this up in advance, but it really comes from my heart. So I hope you'll take it as such. So this week I crashed my bicycle. I'm still feeling the effects of the crash in my arms, my legs, and on my ribs. When I hit the ground, my first thought was that I should stop riding a bicycle. I imagine that's how many of you felt in 2007 when Red Frog faced trouble, and many of you feel today. But in less than 1 minute, along came 2 of the Red Frog residents who are my neighbors. They immediately helped me to my feet. They gave me a ride home and helped me get my bike home too. After a good night's sleep and some Tylenol, I realized I don't need to stop riding my bike and sell it. I just need to slow down on the curves, pay better attention, stop riding in the rain, and wear my helmet. The point of my analogy is it's time for us to be good neighbors, work together for the greater good, and keep the dream alive. Most of you have been here much longer than I have. You all have history and have worked so hard to create this place. Don't give up now. We have a solid plan to move forward. In fact, much of what our team is working on to create is a structure that's been recommended by our owners. We're talking to new leaders, and our current team is committed to being open-minded for the good of all. Our new plan means slowing down on the curves, paying better attention, stop doing things we know won't work, and protect ourselves. We agree, all of us agree, things must change. Thank you.
Well said, Laurie. That was beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
How are you feeling after that fall?
I still have some boo-boos, see? But I'm okay. I'll be all
Okay.
right. Thank you.
I hope
Yeah.
Kelly's taking care of you, Laura.
Yes, he is. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Laura. All right. So let's start off with the good stuff. So first of all, we had made great progress thanks to the support of Enjoy Group. Some things that they helped us on was the renovation has begun, starting with Villa 24. So thank you, Liz, Wayne, and Steve for your support with that. The end result so far with the villa renovation has led to 2 sales in the first quarter. with their plans, the new owner's plans to also renovate their villa, which is great. Sales are up 50% in bookings and 74% over 2021. We also had Vita Design Group. They're based in Costa Rica. They helped us complete the master plan for the village or the pueblo. And then we also have a fresh and exciting new destination brand, as you guys know, Zamia, which will be ready to launch when the timing is right. Next, we do have a compelling green luxury vision that is advancing. We do understand that we have a lot of progress to make in order to reach this vision, but we're happy to say that we are Green Globe certified. We provide 20% of our power with solar. We've received 1 out of 3 proposals for 100% solar smart microgrid, and we're pressing for an hydropower main grid connection. Is there anybody from the panelists that want to add to this, or are we good? Okay. And then we also have the opportunity to become the best resort in Central America. We not only have one of the best locations in the country, we have no competition, at least on the Caribbean side, and we have 56 units under construction that upon completion will bring critical mass to the resort. All right, we have some more. We have some more good stuff. Jerry?
Well, thanks. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jerry Bratz, and I started as a homeowner in 2007. And thanks, Justine, for letting me talk about the good. We'll let you other guys handle the ugly and the bad. But
Exactly right.
I appreciate these calls because I've been asking for some transparency and to hear what's going on. I've been involved since 2007, and I love these 2 slides because resiliency has been the name of the game, whether you're an owner or an investor and partner. Boy, we've gone through a lot. Labor strikes, the real estate meltdown. You can read some of these here, the 10 years to get back going on the villas and the condos. And guys, this hasn't been easy, but it's been perseverance. It's been working together. Like Laura said, it's been lending a hand and jumping in. I know there are many people that have put in a lot more money than I have, but just different ways of finding to make this thing work. And I've watched in my, oh gosh, I guess it's 13 years or whatever it is, probably 15 years now. A lot of projects come and fail, or a lot of projects say they're going to come to Bocas and do something big and have not really come to fruition. So the fact that we're still here is a real testament of the resiliency and the persistency of the partners and of the owners and some of the investors. So I'm excited. Thank you guys for the questions. I know I've submitted a couple and looking forward to hearing some of the answers here.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
As I'm looking at this too, even bringing in great partners, IGY, that was a real feather in the cap. What a wonderful partner they are, and a great company. Selena coming in, a large hostel. You've said in the last slide, this is a special place, and I don't think there's a single person on this call that did not come to Red Frog and notice that this was a real special place, and it's a dream for us all. And so, thanks, Justine.
Thank you, Jerry. All right. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. Guess who's getting the bad?
Yeah.
Sorry. That was a joke.
Hey, no, it's the reality. I'm responsible for it. So of course, I'll be going over the bad and the ugly. And if I could just add on the good, one comment on the employees. We have 120 employees, the largest in Bocas, and we just value them so much. They've been amazing. 20 years working together. To have that group has been special. And just talking to Mario as we prepared for this call, how important the job is to him. And he talked about his family and the other families that are impacted by Red Frog. So it's just something that's really special, and we appreciate them very much.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, for adding that in. They've become family. I have not been down since COVID, unfortunately, but you miss some of our family down there, and thank you for chiming in on that.
Sure. And I'll add that, we tried to keep this condensed, but we wanted to give a real transparent look into where we're at, the good, bad, and the ugly. And this will help owners see what we're up against, and then what we're doing to try to solve them. The first one I don't think is any shock. Liquidity has been a struggle. And I know a lot of owners often wonder why, especially if sales are up and bookings are up. COVID's really impacted us to a pretty large degree. The airlift hasn't resumed like it used to be. We've had a fair amount of cancellations, which is not helpful. We've had about 25% of the owners have chosen not to invest in their villas to update them, so we don't have as much inventory to rent. And then a big piece is we're owed a little over $1.4 million in receivables that we haven't been able to collect. So this isn't something that you often hear, and hopefully this shows you how transparent we want to be, that that's an issue for us. And it's something that we're working through to try to resolve so that we can invest in the resort. I don't think this is a shock either. Our assets need some updates since COVID, right? Our infrastructure is maybe the most important issue right now. And I'll talk about what we're doing to go after that in a second. The power costs have been very high, especially the last 18 months with the price of fuel, inflationary trends and so forth. So that's been a struggle for our owners, for us as well. We absorb a lot of that cost, which has been difficult for everybody. We also need to update some amenities, and that includes La Rosa, reception, the spa, roads, and things like golf carts. A lot of time we take those for granted. They're very expensive. I remember we used to buy them, Steve, I think for $8,000 a golf cart. Now they're over $14,000 a golf cart. So that's been difficult based upon our position, but it's something that we have to update. And then one that maybe people don't know about that's been tough is we don't have contracts for all the services we provide in utilities and services. We've been doing it in good faith for over 15 years. And it's poised a challenge for us when we share with you the plan that we'll have to resolve. I don't think this one's a shock either. Yours truly and Miranda specifically, I don't think it's a secret that we've been ready to move on. It's been over 20 years for me, and Miranda's, I think, at 18 years. You notice she's not on the call. She's very stressed out. Hopefully she doesn't get mad at me that I'm sharing this, but a lot of the negative interaction with the COA really gets to her, and it's taken its toll. So this has been a plan in place for the last couple of years to move on, bring in new perspective, add more experience, expertise. And, the losing Enjoy Group was difficult. I'm not going to lie. It took us 2 years to get them. We worked with them for 2 years. The plan was for them to take over as asset managers. And then Miranda and I would have been out. That was, I think, a really good plan that we worked really hard on. And you saw that we parted ways, and hopefully someday they'll be back. They were amazing to work with. But the timing wasn't right in terms of, where we were, where they were. And it is what it is, as we say. So we have to move forward. And it's been difficult to find replacement for leadership after the Enjoy Group loss. But now I think we've got a really good plan forward that you'll see where we're going. Okay, just a little detail on the power costs. I don't know how well you can see this, and it's in Spanish, but we've got a fair amount of owners asking about the power costs, why it's so high, and a lot of owners maybe don't necessarily agree that our costs are so high. So in 2021, we thought it'd be prudent to have a third-party audit come in and take a look at really what our costs were. And they did a 15-year audit, and you can see there we lost almost $4 million between 2006 and 2021. And that was because we were charging considerably lower than our cost, and we were doing that in good faith. And somehow we were able to do it. We absorbed a lot of those losses, and it got to a point we couldn't do that anymore. And then, as you guys know, we changed the cost structure in 2019 to where it was at our cost. And I know that's created a lot of frustration, and we understand it. And we've been working hard at trying to solve or get a new solution, a long-term solution that I'll talk about in a second also. And the details of this, by the way, we're happy to share this with any owners that would like to see it. This shows how they calculated all of our costs. And you can see the average cost for 15 years was 79 cents a kilowatt. And it's exceedingly high. And if you look at other remote resorts across the world, it's pretty much right there. It's very costly to get fuel to an island, off an island. It's very costly to do repairs. We had several engine overhauls, and it's very expensive. I mean, just oil changes alone for each generator is almost $5,000. So it adds up and it's expensive. But this is reality. I know there's been some banter with owners that, oh no, the costs are only 30 cents. And that's just not true. This is the reality. This is a third-party independent auditor that did this. And I think you should consider the source when you're thinking about what the costs are, and hopefully this will give you an idea of what it really is. But we choose to look forward and what we're going to do to solve it. Okay, the ugly. This is the difficult one. In any company, there's good, bad, and ugly, and these are the ones that we're faced with. I think the Panama government lack of support for our project's been the number one issue all along. Their connection to the land adversary has damaged us significantly and really not allowed us to grow. And for example, we lost a large $26 million capital deal in Q4. And that would have put us in a totally different place than what we're talking about today. So that was also very challenging. And maybe, well, not maybe, but the Enjoy Group would still be here if that would have happened, just to give you an example. So ultimately, investors and banks, when they see there's no support from the host country, when we're the top 5 projects in Panama, it makes them very nervous. So that's been a real issue. And then, you know, some of the dissenting owners as of late hasn't been productive with noise out there and new prospects coming and hearing that owners aren't happy and there's discontent. That makes it difficult for Laura to sell and create cash flows. So it's been a challenge, and these are the 3 that you know, we're focused on resolving, but it's been difficult. I will not lie to you. So we have to take all of this, the good, bad, and the ugly. The Enjoy Group transition, the loss of the deal in Q4, and as a team, we have an informal board of directors, as well as a leadership group back together and put together a plan going forward. So we're going to share with you an abridged version of that. The real one's very long. We would have had to spend half the day together, which I don't think anybody would want to do, but we're going to let you into what our plan is based upon where we're at.
And Joe, Justine's having some trouble with her internet. She's unstable.
Okay.
Can you guys see this?
But yep,
Yes.
it's working now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You might have to take off your video, Justine, even though we want to see you
Okay,
to help with
hold
your
on.
Yeah,
internet.
maybe that'll help. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our plan in one page, the 4 R's. The first one is reorganize. And this is partnering with qualified management groups, companies, and teams, as well as 3 preferred construction companies with third-party access, where we are taking our assets and either leasing or selling, where we can have companies, frankly, I think you've heard me say this a lot of times, that those of you that know me, that are better than us. And the Enjoy Group was one of those, and they're now gone. So we're talking to several others, and it's going very well. And essentially, we're emulating the success of our other third-party relationships. If you look at the marina, the market, Selena, where they have a vested interest. When you invest and have groups from, you know, whether it's Bocas or Panama or internationally, when they invest in the area, that they have a vested interest in making sure they succeed. And I think a weakness of ours where we trying to do everything. And that's why we brought on the Enjoy Group. And you can't be good at doing all things. And frankly, we were average. We did some good things and made mistakes in others, which is my responsibility. But ultimately, this model works. A lot of other resorts do this. So we're going to rapidly pursue this model where all of our interests will be managed by others. And it leaves Red Frog 2.0 as a viable plan someday, right? We have it, Enjoy Group put it together and gave it to us. You guys all saw it in October. It's special. It's amazing, but we're not ready for it. We need to focus inward, be disciplined, and looking at what's really wrong. Infrastructure, I think, is a great example, and fix our foundation before we try to grow. So that's there. And then finally, this is a new proposal or suggestion. Our board, our informal board, would like to offer 2 seats to owners so that we have ownership presence on the board of directors. So we'll be reaching out to owners that hopefully have an interest in being part of that. That way that we have more of an owner perspective on our decision making and where we're going in the future. So there'll be more information on that as we go. Okay, restructure to make sure that those leasees and buyers are happy with managing, whether it's the grocery store or whether it's the student center or whether it's rentals or whatever it is. They want to know that we're financially stable and healthy. And I can tell you our balance sheet is strong. We're under leveraged, but we'd like to convert all of our debt to property. So our objective is to have 0 debt, and that's where we're going right now. We need to complete all the contracts for services I mentioned. Imagine one of the big companies that's looking at managing all the utilities. The first question they asked me was, "Do you have contracts?" And I had to say, no, we're going to get those out. And you can imagine why they're asking that. If I was them, I would ask the same thing. They wouldn't want to come into an organization where there weren't clear contracts, so they knew what their revenue was as well as their cost structure. So these are important. Raise is the third R. We're focusing inward, so we're not going for $26 million anymore because of the ugly that I shared with you. But we have to focus on what we can do. And the focus for us right now is raise limited funds to accelerate the completion of Blue Pearl and Cliffs. And we're making some headway there also. We don't love the modest pace that we've been at there. I know you don't either. So we're working really hard to raise capital there so we can finish those. I don't think there's anybody more excited to finish those than we are. So we're working hard at that. And then raising capital also on 2 major things. One is a smart microgrid. You may remember that discussion in the past. We had 1 vendor who had given us a proposal. They pulled out, and now we have 3 new ones where we don't put up the investment. They put up the investment and we buy kilowatt hours from them essentially. So it's a 1 megawatt solar array system and a 2.8 megawatt Tesla battery storage system. All that would be in the logistics area. And we'd be paying them per kilowatt, and it would drive down costs substantially. Water is the other one. I think you all know we've had a water issue. We have several wells and we have good storage. The problem has been the wells are drying up. And then the other problem is controls. We don't have great controls on knowing where there's water leaks. So I'll talk about the solutions there in a second. But the interesting thing is one of the new vendors we're working with does a WPA. Same thing as a PPA, where they invest in all the equipment, and this would be a desalination plant. So we're using salt water. They're very expensive, but we would have no more risk of lost water, and we would pay them per gallon. So I think that's a really great new solution that infrastructure is our #1 inward focus right now, and we're all over it. And then finally, the 4th R is resolving issues, right? And we have plenty of those. So as many companies do, but recently we have more. ACEP is the regulator of power price. We've been pushing them for 2 years to set the price. We'd rather not to set the price of power. You saw the third-party audit. We've been doing the best we can to follow their direction, what the costs are, but we'd like them to set the price until we're connected to the smart microgrid, or we're connected to the main grid with hydropower. I'll share with you in the COA section of why that's been delayed. We want to secure our final titles. The Residence Club closure is an important part of our solution. you know, a large part of that 1.4 million that's owed to us are residents club owners. So this is our way to help those folks pay as well as get us more liquidity so we can put investments into the project. So that's an important project. We have sold one unit. I believe there's 4 lists, and then the others we're waiting for listing agreements. And the COA conflict, elephant in the room. That's an issue. We know it, you all know it, and it does impact everybody, not just the COA, but the project and other owners. And that's why we were happy other owners wanted to be on this call, so we could share, you know, our version of what's happening. And you know, we'll get to that in a second too. Updating infrastructure, that's number one. I talked about that, and then updating amenities and transport. I think one note before you leave the slide, Justine, I know you got the trigger on this. I think this is probably an important announcement as we move through the 4 Rs. Towards the end, I and Miranda will be stepping down. And we've been at it for, well, I've been at it for 20 years. It's been a privilege and honor. It's been a challenge. It's been lots of tears and sweat. But the time's right for us to move on. And once we get through this, we'll be in a place that there'll be no more interface with Miranda and I. If we're doing anything, it'd be on the backside, helping on the legal issues and the land. But in terms of day-to-day access with the owners, we are moving on. All the groups we're talking to that are going to be taking over assets or leasing assets have asked that we stay on, Miranda and I, for a transition period. So of course we will. This is in many respects been my baby, and I want to make sure that the baby grows up to be good and amazing. So we'll stay on as long as needed, but the time's right. We've been saying this for a couple of years, and we think the time's right to have a new perspective. And it's very sad, but that's where we're at, and we're going to do that. We think that's what's best for the resort as well. I think there's a lot of other groups out there, and you'll see the ones we're working that are better than me. And I think they're going to bring us forward where we can all be happy and we can look at the resort in a better light. So that will be communicating more as that goes, but that'll take a little bit of time. We ask for your patience. It's going very well, this whole plan, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, now you can change the slide, Justine. Okay, so as a part of this new transparency initiative with owners, we're going to be sharing more of the 4R plan as we go. You're going to be up to date all the time. And if it's these meetings or if it's going to be question and answer meetings, we're going to make sure you're updated and you know what's happening. So just a few of the items. I think I already talked on a couple of these. You can see some of the prices. William's done a great job at putting all this together. We're so sad to lose William. He was, talk about an amazing guy, right? Just a great leader, consensus builder, that we shed a tear over as well, losing him, but he really left us in a good place. And you can see some of the costs there. They're significant. It's about $500,000 in infrastructure updates that are needed. We have 2 utility managers that we're ready to hire. With the loss of William, we have no way forward without a utility manager. We're trying to decide on which one we want, but everything's moving so quickly, we may let one of these companies that's going to take over utilities decide. If it's not happening quick enough, we're going to hire this manager because we need to do these updates quickly. We're going to keep working super hard, Miranda and I, on the long-term low-cost green energy, and then executing contracts for utilities and service. That's going to come right away. And we hope that you can review those quickly. Mario and the team will be sharing that with you.
For sure.
Go to the next one, Justine. So just a little info on the first project, which is the sanitary plant. We do have an issue with the sanitary plant. Chromaglass was the original supplier. It's called a sequencing batch reactor. The system is fairly complex. It took a while to even understand what the problem was. We had several experts come, and we finally got a deal with Tama. They're the supplier that's going to come in, and they're going to line our existing tanks. They have to remove the sludge. Don't you love that word? They have to clean up everything, update pumps, aeration pumps, and then they're going to add a static separator and then an expansion tank, especially considering we have to look forward. There's 56 more units coming. We can't just live in a vacuum and hope it works. So this is a really important investment. And it's $136,000. So it's a big investment. 50% is required update. Our plan was to do it in low season because there will be a period that it looks like we'll have to shut the resort while they do this, maybe for a few days at least, maybe a week. So we're working on all this, and remarkably, and not great as we had planned on the money from the COA owes us $148,000 to pay for this. And of course we haven't been paid that. So we're looking at other ways to raise those funds so that we can get that plant updated. So I think this is Mario just talking about the next steps for the agreement.
Okay, guys, I think it's my turn. Good morning to everyone. My name is Mario. I'm the resort manager, also in charge of owner services. And most of the owners here, they already know me, which is great because I have a lot of appreciation for all of them. Also, I'm so proud of the job that I'm doing, and my family, they're so happy that I'm part of this, of the Redford family. So on all of this time, I just have one question in my mind, which is, what can I do for help? I think I actually asked one of you owner that same question. So what I will be doing is this. We will be sending utilities and service agreement in these coming days. Please just review and let me know if you all have any question, because I will be here for all of you to support all of you as always. Also, as Joe mentioned, the RC closer help owners, also OGI, and so this program is essential. And I also was thinking about the electricity. So we will be sending out form letter to send to ASEP and Naruji for owner helping pushing the main grid connection. That way we will have a way better price on electricity, and we all need this. So I just want the support of all of you as always. I think we all will be on a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. All right, I think this one's for Steve.
Yeah, hi, everyone.
Hello, Steve.
You know, Jerry touched on a little bit of our history. I just want to do a brief review of that. You know, in 2007, we went, all sorts of stuff happened, worldwide real estate collapse. Here locally, we went through almost a 2-year strike, labor strike, which shut the project down. But after that, in 2008, we had an amazing meeting where people came together. We restructured, I think, close to 400 contracts. We had community involvement. We had everyone, basically, owners, shareholders, everyone. And the major shareholders, including Joe, gave up over 90% of their ownership in order to make this happen and allow the project to the resort to move forward. And that happened because everyone came together and figured out a new path forward. So we have a track record of restructuring. There were mistakes made, they're still being made, we've all made them, but we took the high road and we moved forward. So now we have significant progress with this 4R plan, which Joe shared with you. And that includes the new leaders. And I'll get to that later on, but the point lease, interested operators for the utilities, for the resort itself, for the student center, a plan for maintenance, new construction contractors. But what's important here is understand that this will take time for us to finish. Every project that does well, and I'm talking about a real estate project now, the owners and developers work together. So if you're on an island serviced by another island, it's even more critical that we work together. Our team has made great progress on this new plan. And while I'm sorry to see the leadership change, the ownership, the shareholders also believe it's important for the resort to have a new perspective and more expertise to come in and a new path moving forward. And my hope, and you'll hear me say this again, is that we can do this collectively. Can you go to the next slide? Go to the next slide. So we have created a special place together amid enormous adversity over the years. As a company, we realize that there's going to be different opinions, there's going to be different attitudes about how we operate, how we move forward, and we as a company accept that. We realize that. And I just want you to know my personal background is in Subway as a developer, and my partner Todd Eastman and I, we took an attitude of saying, let's take care of our customer. If we take care of our customer, we take care of everyone. And in this case, it's the project. So we're doing our very best to take care of our customer. Our ownership has taken no dividends. They've continued to invest financially in our project because they believe in it and they want it to succeed. In the midst of all this, there's a small group of dissatisfied owners that are disparaging the resort and the team and threatening the resort's demise. Obviously, this is not productive, but I'm going to go off record here and say that on the internet and in person, these comments that they're made, the attitudes they're showing, are a bunch of BS. Please don't give it credence. Having said that, this won't distract us. We have turned over those issues to our legal team to handle. And if any of you are interested, we can share documentation for how those for those interested, how it has impacted the resort and the truth about what actually is going on. But in the meantime, as a company, we're going to move forward. We're going to keep our eye on the ball, and we will continue to work hard to earn the trust of the owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Laura?
So talking about solutions, how can the owners help? So we'd like for you to hold Red Frog in your heart and remember what it is that you love about the place, what you fell in love with originally, and be an ambassador. We're not asking for you to tell lies. We want you to always be honest and say what's in your heart. But I ask you to really communicate when you see people around about what you do love about the resort, just building on that and not taking us down. Because we're all in this together. We all have investments, and I believe, all want to see the resort succeed and be our happy place. So there's strength in numbers. Let's come together and let's make this a positive place and get rid of the negativity. So I'm excited to work together with both the owners and the residents to move forward. So again, Joe mentioned that we're going to be reaching out to owners to see who would like to have a seat on the board of directors. Of course, it's an informal position, but we'd like someone. We know we have some really great, well-experienced owners out there who are business savvy. So we'd like to ask for your help. So who can help us with understanding how the resort, and I just have to say, I've said this before, like, it's harder than you guys think, and I know it on my own. So please, if you are someone that has this business experience and want to help, please reach out to us, because we'd like to give you a position to help us.
All right, thank you, Laura. Joe?
Sure. So hopefully that gave you a snapshot of where we're at, the good, bad, the ugly, our strategic plan, the imperative of working together, and if I could just add, because I've been here since the start and how difficult 2008 was and how inspirational it was that everybody came together. I remember almost throwing up before I went to that meeting in 2008 and knowing 100 owners were going to be there. And it was frightening, to say the least. But after many hours of discussion and hearing the owners, we all decided to come together. Now, this is a totally different place, right? We have 80 units we're renting and amenities and beach clubs and infrastructure and everything that together we've created. So we're at a different place, but I don't think it's any different and needing to stay together, especially when we're transitioning like we are. With the 4 Rs you see, some of these things are complicated. That'll take a little bit of time to get through it. But I think we've also proven that we can do that along the way, making mistakes, hopefully making less as we go, but we can do it. So I think if you take away anything out of this presentation before I move into the questions on COA, it's stick together. It worked in 2008 and it'll work again in a much better situation. And, you know, we have a special place. I don't know how many times I've had experts in the industry when I give them a visit and go to Cayman Beach or wherever we go, and they're like, Joe, this is the most amazing place I've ever been. Even like Alberge, I can remember, for example, they go all over the world and they said, this is the most amazing place we've ever been to. So we have this special place, and to let a small group of negativity get in the way of that for 300 plus owners, it not only is sad, but it doesn't make any sense, any business sense either. So I think sticking together, we've proven that works, and we can do it again, and we can certainly execute on all this if we stick together, stay positive and move forward. So I'm hoping that makes sense to everybody. And of course, we'll keep communicating as we go, but appreciate you trying it on and seeing if that plan fits. So let me jump into the COA. We didn't get as many questions as Justine said about the COA. And if you think about it, the COA is really a smaller number of all of our owners. So a lot of our owners have nothing to do with the COA. So these two questions we thought were representative of a lot of the things we hear, like why does a COA struggle impact me? And the second one was, I hear that a lot. What the heck's going on? Like, why can't we fix this? And honestly, we agree. We'd like to solve it too. 2 years of this, 2 years of the board change struggle has been stressful and damaging to everybody, but it was leading up to that for a long time too. So we thought we would just frame it up. First, a summary of it. This is for really the people that aren't in the COA, and that's where most of the questions came, were non-COA members, so that you have an understanding of it. This is factual. I would venture to guess the old board of directors maybe has a different view, and that's okay. But this is the facts, and we wanted to make sure everybody saw it. So we'll give a quick summary. Justine, if you go to the next slide. So without spending tons of time on this, I'm going to breeze through it, but it really started in 2019, where what was working okay between developer and the COA. And remember, the COA is for one finca, so it's one parcel. It's 63 lots that it's made up of. It worked okay. The developer, being us, and the COA worked okay. And then we got to a point where we had a couple of issues that we just couldn't get through. One was the power price. We got to a point of mediation, and that came down. And then the other were these charges that maybe before that there was more good faith, and we had ability to work together and work through issues. That's really what you want in a COA and a developer. And then it started breaking down. And when we raised the price of power to get to our cost, which we had to, you saw the audit of what forced us to do that. And then, it started with one of the board members trying to make a public oust of Miranda and I. There was no support to that. There was three emails that were sent in to support that. And that really kind of changed the dynamic significantly between the developer and the COA. we being OGI, tried to have a meeting with the old board asking to try to resolve these things. They rejected that, and we called an extraordinary meeting now 2 years ago to this day, crazy enough. And the old board of directors in Elite Alliance was voted out 36-23. And they might say that that wasn't legal, and that's just not the case. It was completely illegal, and they filed a claim against themselves and stopped it. And here's the mess we've been in for 2 years. They spent over $80,000 of owners' money without approval. They refused to pay OGI, which of course doesn't help us with some of the infrastructure updates we're trying to do. We've never been told to stop services, so we keep doing the services we're supposed to do. It's disenfranchised many owners, the folks that voted for the change. And then now the new one is charging 60% to owners that aren't paying. And there's over half the owners, it sounds like, aren't paying because they don't want to fund the old board's legal fight. So these are tough things to say and report, but this is where it's at. And it's been a struggle. And now there's a recent threat to us that they would sequester our assets. So things like that just aren't productive. If you can go to the next slide, Justine. They held a couple meetings last year that weren't real. They with the impediment at the public registry, all the meetings after, there is no legal change to it. They're using their platform to impact other owners that maybe are super happy about Red Frog and like it. Now they're starting to change maybe their perception of what's happening. They committed to step down November 8th in one of these meetings, and they never did. They told other owners they wanted to destroy the project. They sued us before ASEP, the very organization that we want to set the price. They want to set the price, and that stopped ASEP from setting the price. It's essentially torpedoing what they want. They rejected board settlement offers on several occasions. We finally tried to settle over the last couple months and worked hard. William worked very hard and to try to get a solution. And we gave what we thought was everything they wanted. We essentially said, okay, we don't owe you anything. You don't owe us anything, although they owe us over $148,000. And it wasn't even an answer. It was just another demand. And now they're saying, not only do we don't want to pay you $248,000, but you also have to give us $163,000 cash. So that's $400,000 that, but A, we don't have, and D isn't fair. It doesn't make any sense. So we kind of end at this point that the only solution is to let the courts decide. We continue to legally go through it. And it's sad. We want to settle this. We want to put this behind us. Nobody wants this. This is not good for anybody. So it's a super sad situation that only a few folks are responsible for, and we're open to trying to settle, but it's been very difficult. Won't lie. You want to go on to the next one? We had some owners asking about this. Boy, it's hard to see this, isn't it? Like, where are the charges? I'll try to do my best. It's hard to see, but essentially over that time period, up until I think it was February, we had completed $414,000 in services. There was an acceptance of credits and payments that brought it down to $240,000. And then the COA stopped allowing our credits to be made as payments, which, by the way, the precedent was over 10 years for that. They stopped it because they didn't want us to have votes. So in the end, it's $148,000 net with the credits applied like they should be, that's owed to us, that we could very much use, as you know, especially for the infrastructure. So again, we want to try to solve it, but it's kind of difficult when we don't get paid. We're a business. Think about we have between 6 and 10 workers working on the COA projects. How do we tell them we got to let them go because we're not getting paid? It's not fair, right? So I'm just being straight. It's not great to hear, but this is how it is. Okay, if we go on to the other questions, some of these I'll try to do my best of answering. Some of them I don't know. Why are there no term limits for the board members? I don't know this answer. I was obviously a part of starting it. I wish we would have put a 2-year term limit on it. That's what most COAs have. I believe what the rules now and the regulations are, there's no max unless it's voted on, and it's a minimum of 2 years. So we're not sure why that's the place, but from our perspective, 2 years is a good number, and several of the board members are over 7 years. What are the exact functions of board members? I would say would leave that up to the old board of directors that is currently there. They could probably tell you more on that. We got a couple of these ones. Can I withhold payment to the COA until a new board is in place? We're not going to guide anybody with that, other than, that's up to you. And we know a lot of people aren't, but keep in mind, they're charging 60% interest now. So that's just going to grow rapidly if you don't pay. So that's something that I would say is something you have to decide on. But I think if it continues to be legal and we don't settle, this could go on a long time, unfortunately. This one's kind of similar to the original question, which is, what's the end game? How do we solve this? What's the bickering? And I think we all hear that. It's not helpful. It's not productive. This isn't helping the resort. It's not helping people's investments. And it's hard to say. Again, maybe you can ask the old board members, but we tried to give them everything they wanted, and it was rejected. So I'm not sure what to say there. What is OGI doing to resolve this? Was another question. Other than trying to settle on multiple occasions, spending a lot of time trying to do it. There is a criminal lawsuit against the old board and Kevin Santaviva that's been admitted. That's moving along. We had to implement service restrictions, which was very difficult. And we talked about it for a long time and didn't want to do it. It's not what we're about. We deliver services for owners. We want to deliver a great experience for owners. We felt backed into a corner that we had no other options, trying to do something to try to solve this issue. And it's, again, nothing we want to do, nor do we plan on doing, but it was something we were trying to do to try to solve it. What can owners try to do to resolve this? This is tough. I think this kind of maybe comes back to Laura and what Steve was saying is, injecting positivity into the resort, injecting what you love about the resort into the culture, talking with these folks, trying to get them to maybe meet in the middle, trying to get them to understand where the resort's at and the impact that they're having on the resort. So I know there's several, talking about lawsuits. I don't know about that. That would be up to you. But I think more than anything, it's trying to work together, trying to work with them to try to end this conflict that isn't good for anybody.
Joe, I'm going to interrupt. Excuse me for a second. Sure. This is probably one of the reasons I've asked for more transparency, because I hear one side, and I sat on an owners meeting not too long ago, and there was just so much bickering, and there's a lot of times that we don't know the truth, right? I hear you're saying this, and I guarantee there's people that are watching that are saying that's not true, just like you would have been saying when they were doing theirs. I don't know what the answer is, but is there a way that we could host for those people that are like me that don't know? We hear the facts from both sides and they're both saying it's the facts, and we're not meeting. And I would love to find a way that we could host not an all call, because I don't need to hear 75 people's opinions, but maybe a couple people from both sides, that we can hear both sides and kind of where is the conflict and how can we help resolve that? Unless people are trying to steal the project, there's got to be some happy medium that we can make. And I don't know if what I'm asking for or if that even exists, but I'd love to be a part of hosting maybe a couple people from the old board and a couple people that know, and why can't we haggle something out that way? I just read all these emails and it gets really concerning and frustrating, and it's just not good for the project because you don't know who to believe. But I do think open conversation is necessary, and I'd be open to people's ideas if that would be something that would be of interest that we could do of a conversation with maybe 4 or 5 people, but people from, let's call it both sides, that we can have a real conversation. I think that's what the majority of us want, because we hear both sides. So don't know if that's something we could do, but I'd be interested in people either chatting or emailing if that's something that they might be interested in.
I think it's a great idea. And I'll just echo what I said before, is we would love to resolve it. And we came to the table in a big way to try to resolve it. So absolutely. And it certainly doesn't have to be me on the OG side. It can be anybody. All we want is success. We want resolution. I think you made an important point. If the objective is to ruin the project, it's kind of hard to have a meeting, that if that's what the objective is, but if the true objective is to settle and figure it out, absolutely. We'll set up a call for tomorrow, right? Like, absolutely, there's absolutely nothing we wouldn't want more than try to settle this. It doesn't make any sense for anybody.
Well, as investors are talking about lawyering up, we can all lawyer up and then bankrupt each individually, and that just does not make any sense. I have enough money into this that I would do that. And that's the absolute last thing that I want to do. And I would love to have conversations and hear from both sides, because, you know, Joe, you've made mistakes along the way. I know that as well. But what can we do to put this as a resolve? And again, I'll stop yapping here, but I think that would be something that a lot of partners would like to hear.
Can I
That's a
say
great idea.
something over here? Can I say something? Jerry, thank you so much for this point. It's amazing the way that you are also trying to resolve these issues. As you just say, we've been here about bankrupt the company, things like that. Just think about the family, the employee, the community of Bocas. That will be something really sad, because Red Frog as a company involving owner, everyone, is a huge impact for Bocas and community, for all Bocas towns. So just think about it, because this is a great place. This is a great place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. That puts it in a new perspective, right? This
Yes.
whole challenge, right? It kind of says, who cares who's right? And we don't. We're trying to put out there the facts. And I think, Jerry, you're right. Most likely the old board sees it totally differently. And that's how conflict happens. And, you know, the 20 years we've been at this, we've had a lot of conflict with a lot of different parties, and almost always we've succeeded with some settlement. The legal avenue almost never works. And in this case, if we're, you know, just touch me, Mario, like if it's jeopardizing families, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So yeah, absolutely. We should sit down and try to figure it out. So I mean, we remain always open to that. And especially now that I'm moving on and Miranda can be someone else, that I don't really care about being right. I just want the problem solved so that we can make this move
Well,
ahead.
I would ask that happen then, you know, because I hear your side and I can nod and agree with it. And then I can hear there's going to be a counterpoint, and that's a
Yeah.
valid point that we want to hear as well. So
Agreed.
I would ask that we are reached out to, that I could be reached out to. I'll put it together, that we can have a few people that we can talk about this, and let us hear and let us work this out. You know, we're all capable to get in a room and hopefully have great conversations, and hopefully all want the same, and that is a successful project, a return for the investors, and a great place to call home for those that are living down there.
Awesome. And you're
Yes.
probably right. If we sit or whoever sits in this meeting, maybe the two sides will never agree on each issue. They'll say, well, this is how it is. And they'll say, this is how it is. And maybe you and others who come in the middle can help bring the sides together, or maybe put those disagreements behind and look ahead for solutions. That's ultimately what it'll come to. What's the solution? What's the solution to end it? So, yeah, we'll put that in motion, Jerry. Okay, this is a very similar question. I don't know if I need to answer this, but this is very, very similar, you know, question to the others, like, what can we do? What can we solve this? And that was great to hear a lot of owners saying, what is this? This is crazy. Let's solve this. What are we doing? So we're so with this. We're there. Why did OGI disconnect power? Again, this was a very difficult part of that same discussion I had before. This is also something we never wanted to do, never saw ourselves doing, never even thought about it until it got so bad that we were forced into taking all measures, and have since turned it back on in hopes of trying to come to a settlement. This is not what we're about. We don't want to do this. But we want to solve it is what we're doing. So, and the reason why it was legal is one of the questions is the old board's fiduciary duties as the officers of the company were to pay their bills, and they didn't pay the bills. And if you don't pay your bills, you don't get power, just like any utility in the United States. So it was no different than that, amongst the other things that we mentioned. So You can go to the next one, Justine. Will OGI do that to other owners? No, no. Again, that's never been our objective, never what we want to do. And no, I never see that happen again, nor will I probably be around. And it's me who made the call on it. And you know, looking back, was it a great move? I don't know. We're just trying to solve the problem. But no, we won't do this. We do have issues with folks that owe us money. You see that $1.4 million, it's a lot of money. So we're trying to figure out ways to collect that money so we can make the resort what we all want. And if you're a company in the United States and you didn't pay your bills, then yeah, they'd probably shut off your power, your services or whatever. So, you know, are we considering that? You know, maybe we have to, but we've been, I think, really good faith providers without any contracts, right? Providing services. Many of these folks haven't paid us anything. We still provide services. So if we do, it'd be in another worst case scenario, and it's not something we want to do, right? Okay, and then that next question again is very similar to the ones that we've covered. I don't know if I need to go through the answer again there, but you know, I think the fresh start idea makes a lot of sense. If Miranda and I are stepping down, and the old board steps down, then it's a brand new COA board and a brand new OGI, not OGI, but new leaders that are running the resort that the COA will work with, because we won't be there anymore. That seems to me really pragmatic, a pragmatic solution, that it's a fresh start for both sides. So I don't know if it's a solution or not, but that's something to think about. And I think that's it for me, right? Is that Mario's going, Justine?
Yes, I there is one question here that I totally love. This is the question that I love. Well, we received some more questions. This is the one that I love, as I said before, because here we can see that there is a owner that he is interested on become together to find solution for guests, which is great. So what we do in the past, that we had a good momentum on airlift before COVID, and with connection from Tocumen to Bocas. So what we need is just to restart that way. We probably can have guests here for more time. They can spend like more days over here, and that's something that we really have to take over again, a keep conversation. That way we can bring it over here to Bocas. And also we was pushing Air Panama to normalize their flight. So I totally love this question. We can go to the other one, just. Okay, this is great. We have owner that asking about construction update, also Blue Pearl. So, well, I'm gonna give all an update on construction. For the Cliff 200, we're working on a modest piece, exterior only, and pending paint, gutter, doors, interior moving to paint and tiles. On Blue Pearl, update is almost the same. For building 100, working on exterior sheeting. For 200, painting the roof is pending, and for 100 again is pending the deck and the roof. So we're working on that. And for building plan, pending funding, then we will share with all owners. So we can go to the other one. Here, I also love this question. There is some issues with many dogs here on the resort. So what we do recently is that we took 2 of them to a place in Bocas named Papagayo. They work with their dog, they put it in adoption. That way we can just send like 2 each, probably 2 months, and we can get these issues resolved. Also on the restaurant, we're working with new partners to get it better for owners, for guests, so they have the great satisfaction on the beach club. So we're working on that. Laura is helping me getting that new partner. So we're just working on that. We are close to change many things for better. Thank you.
Thanks, Mario.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think this is me because they're talking about selling. So
Yes.
people are asking about how can we sell our properties and what are you really doing for sales? So we have a strong team, probably, well, I might sound arrogant, but probably the strongest team that has ever been at Red Frog for sales. No offense, Chris.
And
but
confident, evidently, Laura.
Chris Hahn is gonna hate me for that one, but myself and Nina. Some of you may have met Nina before. She's been fantastic. We hired her as a sales coordinator, but a few months ago we changed her to sales manager position. She's also helping with project management. She's like a sponge. She speaks 3 languages. I have to tell her things once and she knows it. So we're a really great team. And then we have Justine, who's working with us for marketing. So we've improved the website. We now have the listing, individual listings that show details about what we have available. And we work hard. We give a lot of tours. There's a lot of looky-loos, but we don't care. We will show anybody because we think everybody might have a friend or a family member that's interested. So we give a lot of tours, we show a lot of people around, and we don't count anybody out. So we're working really hard. If you do want to sell your property, certainly you can reach out to myself or Nina, and we can tell you about getting together a listing agreement, and we'd be happy to help you with that. And then this question's a little tricky. Someone asked about Bastimentos Holdings stock. As you heard us say, right now we're in a struggling position. So we don't expect to have a buyback program this year, but we are working to improve the resort, make it more profitable, and hopefully that'll be something that will come in the future.
All right, thank you, Laura. Steve.
Yeah, I just had to get off mute. Well, I just wanted to, I wanted to take a minute just to recognize Joe and Miranda. Whether you have a problem with them or whether you love them, and I think I speak for the majority of the owners as well as the shareholders, they have put in decades of hard work. I mean, like no one else would have stuck with it the way they have. They've been overpaid, underpaid. Sorry, I wish you were overpaid. You've been underpaid, you've been overworked. And it was really with humility that they approached us and said that they really feel for the good of the project. Moving forward, they should step down. And so we embrace that. But right now, I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you both for all your hard work, all that you've given to us, 70-hour weeks. I just really appreciate it on a personal level. And also, I know all the shareholders feel the same way. So Joe and Miranda, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
You know, moving forward, we've talked about our issues, our concerns. We've talked about our plan moving forward, the 4 R's. We've talked about the hurdles, the good, the bad, the ugly. The goal here was to let everybody know where we're at and be transparent about our company and where we stand right now and where we want to go moving forward. When Mary and I joined this project and when we became investors, our big thing was sustainability, and there was many others that agreed to that. Sustainability means you know, a reasonable return for the shareholders. That has yet to come, but I hope it will. That we take care of our owners, that we take care of our employees, that they enjoy working here and they're compensated fairly. And then lastly, that we're an asset to the community. And Mario, you touched on this and I appreciate it. We have provided a ton of jobs, hundreds of jobs for the community. I love the
Thank you.
community, we all do, and we want to maintain that relationship. So let's not let a minority of destructive individuals stand in the way of our collective dream and our investments. There are owners who have said to me, well, I'm not against you or them or anything. I just want to enjoy my villa. I want to be retired. I just want to be involved. Well, maybe it's time to take a different perspective. Maybe it's time for you to be involved. I'm asking you that if you are worried or concerned or want to do something, take the time to take the action by being positive and productive. What does that mean? It means talking to the COA board. It means when you're in town, you talk to the community, you talk to the people, say, I'm part of Red Frog and I really am a supporter. Be Red Frog ambassadors. Laura talked about this. Stress the positive in the resort community. If you want to protect your investment and enjoy it, we need you to be a part of this process. And I'll leave you with this. We have nothing to lose by being positive and everything to gain. On the other hand, if we're negative, it'll only be destructive. And when I look at what we've done so far, how far we've come, I just hope that we continue to work together and move this project forward. We have an amazing resort. It's an asset to the community, hundreds of jobs, and we are leaders in Panama. So on behalf of the shareholders and all of us, I just want you to know that we appreciate you, the owners and the staff, because
Thank you.
without your hard work and the support, we would be nowhere. And then lastly, that fresh start that Joe mentioned, and basically I was supposed to talk about that. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Sorry.
New leadership and new COA. That to me seems a very clean, very simple, but very direct way that we can move forward. So we're doing our part. We're bringing new leadership in. As painful as it is, we're going to bring new leadership in. And we're asking the COA board to step aside and let new representatives represent the COA as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Alright.
Steve.
Thanks, Steve. And I could
Thank-
just make one note. I guess in case I don't get to talk to many of the owners that have been with us along the way. It's been an amazing journey. Very, very difficult, but also rewarding. And I've always said what's fueled me the entire time is support of owners. And when it gets tough, knowing that the majority of the owners had my back is what kept me going. And I'm so grateful. And Red Frog would be nothing without you owners and our employees, the Marios of the world. I mean, it's hard not to love Mario just as he's talking and our entire team. And so I just feel really grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
So-
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We hope this meeting was informative for you guys. So what's next? We are going to be sending out updates on Project 1, and then we'll also send information for Project 2. This meeting is recorded, so if you guys want a copy of this, then go ahead and send Mario an email. We'll send out the recording to you guys. And we do plan on having quarterly updates. So we will keep you guys updated with the progress with everything. So again, thank you everyone for your continued support, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Justine, could you, are we done?
Yes.
Okay, could you send
Oh,
out,
well, I mean,
could you
yeah.
send out a link for people to get the recording so that they don't have to send an email to Mario, but basically you send a link out to everyone saying, here's a recording. So-
That will be great.
yeah, of course.
Okay,
I can
thank
go
you.
ahead and do that.
Okay,
Thank
All
you.
right.
everyone.
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
thank
Bye.
you.